America's plans to deploy missiles in Europe pose a direct threat to Russia's national security. That's according to Vladimir Putin in a top meeting of military officials. He issued a stern warning that Moscow would react accordingly if any foreign power attempts to break the strategic parity of current nuclear arsenals. RT's Igor Zhdanov reports.
We all know well that some of our foreign colleagues are trying hard to break the strategic parity, in particular deploying global missile defense elements in close proximity to our borders. We cannot but notice these threats to Russian national security and will react to them accordingly.
The Russian president speaking at a defense summit in Russia's southern city of Sochi, he has indeed revealed that Moscow sees and observes all the activity of NATO and NATO-friendly countries that are creeping up to the borders of Russia. Not only does it see, it is, of course, prepared to react to any confrontation. It's prepared to react to any provocation that there might be. And in fact, according to the Russian president, some NATO vessels are seen better than others from Russia. Have a listen.
We need to further develop our air defense system, in particular due to the current military and political situation, the increase in NATO flights near Russian territory, the appearance of NATO ships with guided missiles in the Baltic and the Black Sea. Now, you know, a US ship has entered Black Sea waters and we can watch it through binoculars or the rear sights of the defense system.
So yeah, pretty bold statement when it comes to the rear sights there. But also the Russian president has revealed that new machinery, that new equipment is on the way to the Russian army, that the Russian army continues to modernize and to become more up to date, to become more technologically superior to the past version of itself. For example, it has revealed that the new versions of air defense systems, the S-500, it's a new iteration of Russia's main air defense system, that the first such complex will very soon join the ranks of the Russian army. This as the S-400 air defense systems, which are being used and are being purchased all over the world, Turkey being a prime example here, purchasing Russia's S-400 systems. Well, the Russian army is getting more of those as well, while they're waiting for the S-500 to graduate and to join the ranks. Also, the Russian Navy will receive a major technological update. According to the Russian president, by year 2027, 70% of all the equipment in the Russian Navy will be brand new. But given all that, the Russian president has praised the current state the Russian armed forces are in right now.
Now, despite years of olive branches from Moscow to the U.S. and to NATO, the doors are closed at the missions office in Russia, a sign of worsening relations between the Kremlin and Brussels after a NATO buildup and onslaught of war games along Russia's borders. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov lashed out at the bloc, citing the group only, quote, wanted to teach Russia how to live. So here to weigh in on all of this is former U.S. Navy intelligence officer John Jordan. John, good to see you. What do you take from that comment from Sergei Lavrov? I mean, what do you think he meant by NATO wanting to teach the Russians how to live?
Yeah. Strong language by Foreign Minister Lavrov is something to be taken seriously, because he generally takes a softer line and takes a more mellow tone, especially with the Western media. The genesis of all this was a few months ago at the Russian mission in Brussels, to the Russian mission to NATO. NATO expelled 8 Russian diplomats attached to the Russian NATO mission to NATO. And they got kicked out allegedly for conduct incompatible with their diplomatic status, which is code word for spying, for being engaging in intelligence work. And then a month or so, recently, NATO decided to close down, decided to move away from having diplomatic relationships with Russia, and then Russia kind of put an end to it, and then expelled the NATO mission from Russia, saying it was going to end November 1st. Now, as for the idea of people being intelligence officers when posted to these missions, well, kind of that's to be expected. It's kind of like one of the rules of the road, and it's understood by both sides. Why NATO reacted to this particular 8 is a big mystery, but then Russia kind of took it to the next level by saying, hey, there's no point to this anymore. We're going to shut down, we're going to pull our people out of Brussels, and we're going to kick NATO out of Moscow. This is unfortunate. It's a loss for both sides because the intelligence operatives or not, they're engaging in, there's a lot of working level communication there. It prevents a lot of misunderstandings. There's relationship building between the militaries of both sides, and the thought is that if both sides understand what they're doing and it can be explained through these missions, that miscalculation and perhaps conflict becomes less likely.
Now, Foreign Minister Lavrov responded to the allegations of this being a tit for tat, citing, that long prior to shutting the office doors in Moscow, that the bloc had virtually no relationship with the Kremlin anyway. He said it was just non-existent. We can't tell what exactly went on behind the office doors, but what we can see, John, is that NATO has kept expanding its member states right up to Russia's doorstep, which is a violation of the agreed-upon deal that NATO and President Reagan made. So isn't it incumbent on NATO to perhaps start with a mea culpa?
Yeah, I think there's certainly something to that. Now we have NATO members that used to be former members of the Soviet Union. Oftentimes in the West, it's certainly in the Russia-hating fever of our times, is lost how many millions of Russians died by invasions from the West in the 20th century, and how sensitive Russians are to having those types of buffers, which is a big part of why the Soviet Union insisted on hanging on to Poland and East Germany for so long, independent of their communist ideology. There's a aspect of the Russian psyche at work. So one has to understand that. And, there isn't scarcely a Russian over 40 alive today who doesn't celebrate Dien Pobyedy, their victory day over the Nazis, or lost a family member in World War II. Mm-hmm. There is no analog to this in the Western experience. And so now we have the Baltic states being part of NATO, you have Poland, former Warsaw Pact members, Soviet states. So it's obviously going to be impactful on the Russian psyche. It's going to be important for Russian politics, too, because it's not just the Russian government, it's everybody in Russia kind of feels this and is sensitive to it.
Well, John, last thing here, how much of this drama is predicated on Ukraine's outrage over the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and Victoria Nuland's most recent visit to the Baltic states?
Well, it's all connected. Anything, Ukraine we used to be part of the Soviet Union and has always been part of the Russian Empire for centuries, and now is as a potential adversary to Russia. It's also the country through which Russian natural gas is transshipped to Western Europe. Nord Stream is an attempt, obviously, to bypass that. Russia is heavily reliant on energy exports to Western Europe and doesn't want to see its market share disrupted in any way. So all of these items are connected. Russia is an energy-producing state. That's a big part of their income. And they're starting to feel encroached upon by the West. And if you think about it through the lens of their history, to a degree, it's understandable.
All right, we'll have to leave it right there. Our friend John Jordan, thank you so much for weighing in.
My pleasure.